In a letter to Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver wrote, and I quote, "Education is the key that unlocks the golden door to freedom." End of quote. I'm Flat Black, a Flat Black OD, and this is Flat Black Politics. I want to talk about a subject of grave concern to our children and young people, and that is corrupt and incompetent public schools. Some public schools have a long record of poor academic performance and inept administrators. Over the past 2 years, we've learned that teachers' unions have very little interest in educating our children and young people. As a result, public schools are not teaching our children to succeed in today's very competitive global job market. Teachers' unions want to take away standardized testing, which they say is racist, but they're saying everything is racist. Personally, I think it would be catastrophic. Would you take away the test for driver's permits? My point is, preparation and discipline are necessary for learning. Instead, they are teaching students failure and victimhood, not reading, writing, mathematics, or science. And I could go on about the worst graduation rates in Democrat-run cities, but it would be futile since the bar is being dropped so low for getting a diploma. It doesn't mean you have basic educational skills. One of the ways we can fix this problem is school choice. Public schools have a monopoly on our children if you can't afford private schools. Furthermore, very powerful teachers' unions control public schools that want to indoctrinate our children with immoral, radical political ideology, instead of providing the necessary skills to function in today's competitive society. So, what is school choice? School choice is a term that represents the many ways students access their K through 12 education. In a nutshell, school choice allows public education funds, aka our tax dollars, to follow students to the schools or services that best fit their needs, whether to a private, charter, Christian, or homeschool, learning environments that their families choose. Of course, many still choose their schools by buying a home in the desired district with good schools. But what if you can't afford a house or anything close to those few good schools? School choice will level the playing field, giving all children and young people opportunities to be better educated. At the same time, the competition will force public schools to stop pushing curriculum that teaches white kids are superior, and their supremacy to date has made everyone else victims. That is just one of the reasons why school choice is so important. Some public schools have reduced their requirements for graduating to being confused about your gender and hating our white brothers and sisters. An example of lower learning standards for the disadvantaged is a book called A Pathway to Equitable Math Instruction, targeting Blacks, Hispanics, and multilingual students. But last time I checked, we still do have a few poor white families in our society, but they should be thankful for discrimination in this case. The program is funded through a $1 million grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It's part of a larger push nationwide to teach students critical race theory. Dismantling Racism in Mathematics program, a workbook in Pathway to Equitable Math Instruction, asserts that asking students to find the correct answers for math problems is inherently harmful to minorities. I did look at the workbook and its goals for monthly instruction. I looked at the month of May. Call me Dumbo if you will, but I'm getting, if you are a teacher of any race, commanding authority in an orderly classroom, you are promoting white supremacy. Obviously, they don't know the difference between authority and supremacism. So far, the workbook is being used by school districts in Georgia, Ohio, California, and Oregon. Bill Gates tells teachers not to push students to find the correct answers because it promotes white supremacy. Bill, why would you want to enslave any child's mind to think they can't solve a problem because white men like you have placed the bar so high that minorities, or as you would call them, the disadvantaged, can't reach it? Now you billionaires want to play God and lower the bar to substandard? No, thank you. Quick history lesson. I believe Bill Gates and Democrats like him have taken a vow from right after the Civil War to now, and that is, one way or another, destroy every black soul in America. Look at Democrat policies on abortion, drugs, homosexuality, and lowering standards of education for minorities. Please wake up, people. Listen to this quote, Booker T. Washington. These people fear the results of education will be that Negroes will leave the farm and that it will be hard or difficult for them to secure domestic services. End of quote. We could change that quote from leave the farm to leave the Democrat Party. Let me squeeze in one more quote. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Dr. Martin Luther King. I read this article and I agree that K through 12 education should not be a right or left-wing political issue, but rather a nonpartisan concern for those who believe children should be presented with a fair treatment of history and morals that does not force-feed them any single political agenda. Parents and grandparents, pay attention to your children and vote for the people who will protect them. Vote school choice.